So, you're thinking about a career in Montessori education. That's awesome. You're probably driven by this incredible passion for helping kids grow. But let's be real for a second, you also have to think about your own future, right? And one of the biggest questions on your mind is almost certainly about money. So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down, exactly what you can expect to earn. Let's get into it.
This is the big question, isn't it? I mean, you're about to invest a whole lot of time, energy, and money into getting certified, so you need to know what to expect on the other side, financially. We're not just going to throw a single number at you. We're going to give you the full picture so you can make a really smart decision about your future.
All right, let's start with the most immediate question. What happens right after you get certified? You've put in all the hard work, you've earned that diploma, and you are ready for your first job. So what kind of salary can you actually expect to see on that very first paycheck?
Okay, before we reveal the number, it's super important to remember this is a national average. Think of it as a starting block, a baseline. Your actual salary is going to depend on a few key factors that we're going to unpack in just a minute. But for now, let's look at that foundational number.
$45,000. That's the typical starting point for a newly minted Montessori teacher here in the US. And look, that's a solid foundation to build on, but honestly, it is just the beginning. The real story, and the most exciting part, is how this number can grow over your career.
So, you've got your starting salary. Great. But what about 5 years from now? Or even 10 years down the line? A career isn't just about where you start. It's about the journey and the potential for growth. So let's look at how your income evolves as you gain that invaluable experience in the classroom. You can see there's a really clear and rewarding path for growth here. In your first few years, you can expect to be in that $48,000 to $55,000 range. Get 5 to 7 years under your belt, and that number climbs into the $55,000 to $65,000 range. Nice jump, right? And after a decade or more, you could be making over $65,000, and honestly, a lot of seasoned educators earn significantly more than that. The key takeaway is simple. Your experience is highly valued, and it pays.
And hey, career growth isn't just about how many years you've been in the classroom. There is a clear leadership ladder you can climb. As a lead teacher, you start mentoring others, taking on more responsibility. Move up to a program coordinator, and now you're shaping curriculum and school-wide stuff. And then, as a school director, you're running the whole show. Each of these roles comes with a pretty significant pay bump, offering a powerful way to grow financially beyond your teaching salary.
So far, we've been looking at averages and timelines. But what about the things that can really move the needle on your salary, like right now? There are a few key variables that can have a huge impact on your earning potential from day one. Let's dive into what those are.
Okay, so there are 3 main factors that will really define your salary. Think of them as the big 3. The type of school you choose to work in, your geographic location, and the specific age group you decide to teach. Each of these can dramatically change your paycheck, so let's break them down one by one.
First up, public versus private schools. Public Montessori schools, which are often charter schools, they tend to line up with public school district pay scales. This can mean higher starting salaries and fantastic state benefits like pensions. Private schools, on the other hand, have a much wider salary range. Some might pay less, but some of the elite, well-funded ones can pay significantly more. They might also offer really compelling perks like steep tuition discounts for your own kids. That's a huge one.
And you can see that difference in the averages right here. On average, public school teachers are earning around $58,000, while private school teachers average about $52,000. But you've got to remember, that private school number is just a midpoint. The range can be incredibly wide depending on the specific school.
Next up, and this is a biggie, location, location, location. Seriously, working in a high cost of living area like New York or California can boost your salary by 20% or even more compared to the national average just to help offset expenses. On the flip side, if you're in a lower cost of living region, say in the Midwest, your salary might be about 15% below that baseline.
Now, this table is really interesting because it shows how your specialization, the age group you teach, and your experience work together. See the trend? Teachers who specialize in working with older, elementary-age kids tend to earn more, both right at the start of their careers and way deep into them. It's a really important financial factor to think about when you're choosing your path.
Phew, we've covered a lot of ground. From starting salaries and growth over time to those powerful variables that can really boost your income. So let's put it all together. When you zoom out, what is the real, tangible value of getting your Montessori certification?
It's so easy to get hung up on that starting salary number, but your Montessori certification is so much more than that. It truly is an investment in a career with incredible long-term potential. It opens doors to leadership roles, to much higher earning potential, and to a deeply fulfilling profession where you actually get to make a difference.
So,
let's recap the key takeaways. First, expect a solid starting salary around that 45K mark. Second, know that your experience can boost your earnings by 50% or even more over a decade. Third, remember that location and school type are your biggest salary game changers. And finally, specializing in older age groups often means higher pay. Got it? Good.
And that brings us to our final question, and it's one that only you can answer. We've laid out the financial data, the averages, and the variables that will shape your career. But remember, the numbers are only part of the equation. So, knowing all this, what is the true value of this career path for you?